Man, even in death, even as a zombie man, Toji is like one of the most badass dudes in this series. If not personally, I think the most badass. I mean, like, I get Satoru Gojo, big hype man, big flex dude, but I don't know. I think personally, Toji's got to be the most badass. Like, that dude just all around, all sides, just goes pretty heavy. He's got, he doesn't need to have crazy powers. He's just got badass tools, and he's ready to get the job done. I really like him. I think he's badass, and as much as I enjoy him, it's unfortunate to see him go, but I think it makes sense, and I think making sense is really what's important when it comes to like the story, not just like doing big hype and flex stuff. I think what the most important aspect that you want to put up on display is and want to work around is what makes the most sense for the story. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are upset to bring Toji back just to kill him like this, but like I said, it makes sense, and I'll explain why it makes sense as this video goes on. But let's talk about the chapter itself. Like, as we know, Toji like split up him and Megumi, like he was going after him, and Megumi's just trying to figure out what he can do here because he's lower. He doesn't have as much cursed energy left. He does not enough to use a domain expansion. He's only got so many of his like Shikigami, and he's like, okay, well, I've only got so many, and any left I want to save for like later portions of this whole big chaotic like debacle that they're essentially in. He uses Rapid Escape, but Toji goes through that almost immediately. He just plows right through that. That's not gonna stop him. That's it's a distraction thing that's not gonna work on a guy who's got no time for bullshit. Essentially, he's just getting in there. He's ready to do stuff. But after that point, like, Megumi's still trying to like figure out like what exactly he needs to do for this. How exactly does this all need to kind of like work out? And like where am I going to be able to kind of like get this to really turn in my favor? At that point, we go over to Shoko. She's just having a nice conversation. It's weird that she's not more prominent in this series, considering she was the third for like now you have Yuji, Megumi, and Kugisaki, but you don't like Shoko. Just doesn't seem as obviously as like big in there as Satoru. Maybe she will in the future, because we know like how good she is at the reverse technique, and they even emphasize more in this chapter that that the reverse technique is something that even Satoru can't even really do. Like, he knows how to heal himself. He's not good at healing other people, but she knows how to. That's like her specialty, which I like. I like that there's there's a character that can excels at something that Satoru doesn't. And at the same time, like, her just kind of being around, I want to see more of. I think she's kind of a cool character. There's not a whole lot to work with, but I'm still intrigued with what exactly she's going to display for the story. And now she's just talking about like oh no, I'm feeling a little nostalgic right now, and I'm wondering if that's in reference to the fact that you have Geto sort of out, Satoru's are like active, Toji's active, and I know that she was not there for Toji, but like she was there for the aftermath, and I'm sure she heard a lot about him. But yeah, Megumi's just trying not to get stabbed at this point by Toji, who's just going in more and more. He gets some pretty smart stuff. Like Megumi makes a area of shadow on the ground, so you have like Toji steps in, it messes up his footing, and only kind of like scrapes up part of his side, doesn't like do a straight like chest pierce or do something that might kill him. And he's trying really hard. Like, at one point he tries to stab him with his sword, and like he just too slow. He's not going to get him in time. He's not able to get Toji. Toji is too fast. But we know that is a thing about Toji, is he is just damn quick. It wouldn't surprise me if like he's capable like of keeping up with Satoru like to a degree. Like now, like if you had him currently in the story, and obviously I'm actually really curious if his zombie version is stronger than his normal one, just because of stuff like adrenaline. Like, is his zombie version able to use like adrenaline and not like destroy his body in the process? Or maybe Satoru learned to do that beforehand. I don't think so, but now he's like talking to him, and I really like that you got the flashback in there when it was Megumi talking that kind of like that threw his dad kind of like the corpse version like a little bit off balance. and you get like a flashback of he's just like, he's like, oh my kid's got potential. There's like a discussion with him and Naobito, and I gotta say, I actually like Naobito's old design. I like that black on the sides, gray on type slick back. He's got I don't know what kind of mustache that's called, but I'm sure everyone's seen it. And he's kind of robed up. I think that's actually a really good looking design. I don't know. Like, I like his current design, but I think the black, like, eyebrows, mustache, and part of his hair really kind of like adds an extra tone with the white on top. I always like that silver fox kind of look where you have the gray on the sides and the black on top. I always thought that looked really cool. But like seeing it kind of like set up like this, I think looks badass. But it's from that, like, you see just him, like Toji doing his thing at the time of when he was kind of like working out the deal to trade his kid, because he knew that there wasn't really anything that he could do about it. Like, he wasn't gonna stop them from trying to take custody of his son. So like, he was just trying to cut ties the best he could and get away from it, discard this from his life, and just get the inevitable out of the way. Pretty painful, really, when you think about it, but it's all he could really do. And you see that part where he's constantly saying like, that like places like that are useless for him, and but someone for potential. He's obviously talking about the Zenin clan because he didn't have any cursed energy. He didn't have anything like that. So in this like high-end society, like, he probably just was an outcast and really seen as just a defect individual, nothing. But sending his son there, he's essentially sending his son, like, in his mindset, as we see here, is like him talking about, saying like, someone with potential, it'll be a little bit better. He wants to send his son off to also live a better life. So it's not just him like, I want to cut ties really with him. And I don't think it was really that much at this point. I think it was much more over the fact that he wants his son to just live happier, have more going on for him, and to not be stuck in the world that he's in. Because really the best that Toji has for him is being like a criminal. He's a mercenary. He's a weapon for hire. And instead, like, his son like can go get like an honest living and do really well in the Zenin clan and live a much more, obviously you're gonna be fighting cursed spirits, but the best life that he could possibly give him. And I do really like that. I like that about Toji. And so when you have this part when Toji asks him his name, and he answers Fushiguro, and he's like, oh, not Zenin, good for you. It's because I think he was very happy at that point just to see that his son didn't, switch over and align with the Zenin clan. He still went with the Fushiguro name. I really like that. And then, he just takes the playful cloud and stabs it in the side of his head and kills himself. And so that's what I was talking about. Like, I think there'll be people that are upset he would do that. But here's the thing. Here's why I think it makes perfect sense. One, we already knew that he was an anomaly that already messed up the traditional ways that this technique worked. Like, he shouldn't have been in charge in the first place. It was supposed to be that old lady's grandson. He like lost control. Like, his soul was strong enough to take over this body and override this technique. And because of that, like, the way that he didn't have cursed energy, he was already like going against how this thing should have worked in the first place, and we had already seen him gain control beforehand. So in this spot where he will, like, because you see his eyes are normal, when he's in control, obviously he's his normal self. Like, he thrashed on that dude, and then the old lady. Well, he thrashed on the old lady. He took over that guy's body, and he knew that once, like, if he went back to how he was a moment ago in that kind of like berserk zombie state, he would go back and try and kill his son. But now he gained a moment of control. He found out something that made him really happy. The fact that his son still carried the name that he went with. I think that meant a lot to him, and I really like that. I really like that this was a character chapter for Toji, and as a character that was introduced as just this savage badass, and then you find out more about him, and then here you see that he was just trying to set up his son to have a better life than that he had. I really like that. I thought that was fantastic. And like, I actually thought about it more like as I was doing this, and I think really come to that conclusion that he wanted his send his son off to live a life that he couldn't, that he thinks would be better for him, is really nice. And I do really wish that he fought more to keep his son, because I think that he would have been happy just being with him in the first place. And could you imagine, like, Could you imagine Megumi with like Toji level of stats? He'd be damn unstoppable. Anyway, other than that, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this. I really like this chapter, like I said. Toji's a character that has been one of my favorites since this introduction, and I was really happy to see him come back. And the question was like, I had a lot of questions of like how he was going to be worked further in this arc, if he was going to stick around. But I think this is a logical out, and I like this a lot. I think this was really good and really strong for his character, and I'm curious to know like how Akutami plans to use this for Megumi's character, because Megumi didn't even know that was his dad. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see his reaction after this arc. Maybe he asks now Naobito, like, who was that guy? And he's like, oh, it was your dad. And just to see maybe like that kind of like realization in his head, like, holy shit, like, oh, that was my dad. I could ask him so many questions, or like, why did he do that? There's a lot of stuff that I think can really like come out of this and be really positive. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this chapter, and tell me your thoughts are what's to come up. I'm hoping this, I don't even see how this arc can really go that much longer, like, because Sukuna's up, like, he's gonna tear through everybody that gets in his way. I don't know. Anyway, other than that, though, comment below, thumbs up the video, from the like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.